fiberglass work we gotta do. We got a G by the dash. It's a Monte Carlo. I'm not sure where it's actually swag gasping. I have his information popping up right now. Y'all go check him out and subscribe. He got a whole lot of G by the content. I think he got at least about 5 or 6 Monte Carlos at the moment. I'm not sure which Monte Carlo this dash going in, because he got so many, but we're gonna fiberglass it. As you can see here, somebody tried to repair it and sprayed. I don't know what they had sprayed on. Probably some, whatever it was, it wasn't sticking, but we're gonna take care of that. And we're gonna put some speaker mesh right here. We're gonna do some kind of design. I'm not actually sure how I'm going with it right now, but you know, like I always say, we're gonna come up with something. And it's going, he told me to just fiberglass it and put the texture back on it and just spray it a satin black, because he's not sure if he's gonna keep it like that or wrap it. Just, you know, he want me to fix it, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm gonna start taking all this ashtray and this here off, also this glove box. I'm gonna start taking all of it off, and then with all the parts that I don't really need on it, then I cut it back on once I get all those parts off. All my miscellaneous pieces from the dash I got in the box so I can keep up with them. Then once I get done with the dash, I put them back on. Now we got to come up with a design. I'm gonna make all this one piece for us, the speakers and the vents. I just got to come up with some kind of way of me doing it. So I got me some cardboard, pencil and a pen, and a tape measure. Now I just got to freestyle something right quick. I'll draw it out on my cardboard first. I actually took some wax paper and drew my design out. I'm just freehanding it right now. This is gonna be the, let me show it to you. This is gonna be where the speaker gonna sit, and this is gonna be the vent. I'm gonna incorporate. It's gonna be one piece. I'm gonna make it all one piece instead of two different pieces. So I think I'm gonna stay with this. So I'm gonna cut this out. Then you'll get a better picture of it. I know right now you might not be getting the picture, but just bear with me. I promise it's gonna come together. So let me transfer this design here over to my, I got some, I think, 1/4" MDF. Let me transfer it over to that. 1/4" MDF. But you can see I traced out my design that I made. And you really don't have to do this other side. You could use this same blueprint. Just flip it around like this here. And you got the other side. Since I got both of them traced out, now I'm going to take my pencil and come out with a design for the inside. As far as where the speaker going to go. And I'm going to have some holes somewhere up in here for the vent. And I might put something, maybe a speaker mesh or something right here, just for decoration. I'm not sure on that right now. There you have it. This is my inside design. Now I need to cut the inside out, which I'm going to need this inner piece here to press my grill on, so I don't want to use no drill. drill bit to cut it out because it'd be kind of too wide. So I'm gonna use this Dremel to cut me a straight line here. Then I can get my jigsaw bit up in there and cut it on out. Also with these inside vents. I actually burnt the wood up a little bit because I had the wrong blade on there. This is a ceramic blade. But I got a big enough area to put my jigsaw blade in there now. Now I take my router. Now I put an edge along this top side. That's just to give my mesh some detail. There you have it. I got my mesh here. Now I press the mesh in place. There it's pressed in. Now you can see how I'm going. I just use clamps to press them. Now I take a bit and put an edge on this here. Also, my vents, I had cut those out also. I just got to clean them up with some sandpaper. I'll probably use this bit here, 45. There's the edge. Now I take my Rabbeting Bit. Now I kind of sink this outer edge here so I can trim the mesh up. It'll sit down up in there. Here's the Rabbeting. Now I trim my mesh out so it'll sit down inside that lip. Tuck a Sharpie, just traced out where I need to cut. I'm gonna use my cutters here. There you have it. This is what it's gonna look like. Now I take my jigsaw and cut it on out. The reason why I didn't cut it out at first because it's a lot easier to handle with a bigger piece of wood. Then it ain't gonna be as flimsy. Just gonna cut the outer edge out. I got it cut out. Also, I've been sanding on it, trying to get it smooth. I put some filler up in this area here, shaping it up. Now I got some 3/4 MDF. I'm gonna make a drop down where they sit up in. So I'm gonna trace this outer edge out from a drop down. The 3/4 MDF cut out. Also been shaping it up. I had to do a lot of sanding just to get it to fit somewhat right. That's how it's gonna be. Now I'm gonna take my Roundover Bit and I'm gonna round over this edge here. But first I'm gonna separate the pieces. See, I got the Roundover. Now I'm gonna take my pencil. I'm gonna cut about a 1/2 inch. Well, I'm gonna leave a 1/2 inch on here. I'm gonna cut the rest of it off. Now I take the jigsaw and cut this out. Since I got these pieces here cut now, I'm gonna take my router and I'm gonna put a drop down around the edge, somewhat of a cove. That's so when I put the fleece on, it won't be up to the surface yet. I can build it up. Somewhat like a transition feather edge. See my cove there? That's just something I can staple to. Now I gotta make a base for it. A base to hold this piece here. Then it's gonna be able to hold my speakers. Also, I have a speaker in there like that. With my speaker, I'm gonna have to make 2 pieces because I'm gonna have to have it countersunk. But first, I'll just trace out the outer again once on both pieces. You can see I traced the speaker out, the outer of the speaker. It's gonna be here. Then I also traced where the vent's gonna be at. Let me show you because I'm gonna have to cut this out for the vent, so the air or heat be able to circulate through it for the defrost on both of them. So I'll just probably come back up in here. I just need a lip just to hold it in place. There you have it. Show you how it go. Now I gotta cut a bottom for that, so the speaker has something to mount to, because it's actually just the outer section be countersunk. And I'm just gonna cut probably from this side here. I'm not gonna worry about this side. Cut 2 pieces. Okay, I think I got all my wood cut. I just gotta put everything together and glue it with some wood glue. But let me show you. The reason why I got this cut like this for clearance, the back of the dash hitting the windshield, I just trimmed it out so I ain't gotta worry about doing it when I put it together. And I'm just gonna take my wood glue and glue all my pieces together. Here's my pieces glued. See the windshield, it actually the dash sit like right up against the windshield. That's why I didn't have this piece go all the way up, because I'm gonna take my circlets off and I'm gonna bevel this off anyway. This end here, also this here. See how I beveled it off? It ain't gotta be pretty because you'll never see it. It's gonna be on the bottom. I'm just doing it for clearance. Now we'll start setting the pieces in place, cutting out where they need to be for fitment. After I had positioned both pieces in place, I had took a Sharpie and traced out around the outer edge. I don't know if you're seeing it. Yeah, here you go. You can see the line here. Now I take my jigsaw and I cut this out. I pretty much got it cut out now. I had to cut into this forward here. I also had to bevel some more. But you can see where I'm going now. And this part back here just snapped because it's so flimsy. On this side here, this whole piece here broke off, so I'm gonna have to fiberglass this back in before I move on for us test fitting it. Make sure it's clear in the car. I'm ready to set everything now. I'm gonna be using the spray foam to hold it in place. And once that dry, I'll flip it over and put some fiberglass filler on the back side. I'm gonna be spraying the gaps. Set in place. Now I'm gonna take some fiberglass filler and build up this section here, connect them on both sides. Then I trim the foam and do the back side. It's shape it on up now. You can see where I put the fiberglass filler. Also here, I took some 80 grit and sanded the foam down. In this area here, it was somewhat high, so I had peeled the vinyl up and sprayed some more foam. I'm just waiting on it to dry. I just put the tape on it to somewhat keep it level with the surface before it harden up. Now I turn it over and secure the backside with fiberglass filler. See, I got fiberglass filler here, there, there. I just put it on most of the corners just to strengthen it up. When it's still dry, we'll flip it over. I think we'll be ready to start put some fleece down. Yeah, I done made a mess out here. This just from the woodwork and cutting the dash out. Let me show you what I got so far. I can put the mesh in, show it to you. Starting to come together now. Now I can put the fleece on. Let me grab the fleece. I might clean up a little bit in my spray. Then we'll move on to the fleece. This one I'm going to be using Loctite. And here's the fleece. This here going to be kind of somewhat tricky because it's a lot of different contours. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to start laying it down right here. Then I'm going to work my way all the way around to the back side and to the, well, this the back side. To the bottom here, to the back side. So I'm not going to have to fleece this up in here because this ain't going to have to be fiberglass. The gauge cluster, they go up in here. Also, I'm not going to worry about this part up in here or the glove box. So I'm just going to spray this spray on here. Like I said, I'm going to start in the middle and work my way on. Don't want to spray right now. I'm going to have to clean this tip. There we go. It's coming, but it's taking me a minute for us trying to wrap all these different contours. As you can see, I got this bottom somewhat done. Finished up wrapping it with the fleece. I started putting staples up in here. This just to keep it from lifting up when I start putting that resin on it. Because it'll interact, the resin interact with the spray and it start lifting. And I'm going to put some staples around my woodwork. These are the staples I'm going to be using. 1/4 inch staple gun. So let me do that, then I'll cut you back on. There's the staples. I'm gonna put this piece here back in here just to hold the fleece down until it harden up, until the resin harden up. I got some tape around it to keep the resin off of it. I'm just gonna put it back in there. I think I got everything that I felt like that was gonna lift up for stapling it. I put a piece of tape around here because it's a piece like this going on. That's a Southern Chevy TV piece I'm just using as a guide. Swag didn't have his on here. And this right here gonna have to be cut out. This is where the hood release go. And I'm gonna cut all this out eventually. I'm gonna leave it on there, just like this part here. I'm gonna leave it on there until everything dry up. Guess I'm gonna take it outside and brush the resin on. I'm gonna be using this fiberglass resin, my bundle, and I'm gonna brush it on with a chip brush. This is what it's looking like after the resin. I actually put two coats of resin on there. I put one coat, then I came back and put another one. Just trying to soak up the fibers of the fleece. I could just go straight to fiberglass mat now, or fiberglass cloth. But I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to take my DA and smooth it out some because it'll lay down a lot better. If you go straight to it now, you'll have a lot of air pockets and stuff trying to go over these fibers. So I'm going to take my DA with some 80 grit on it and just smooth it out first. Then I got a few wrinkles like right here. I'll probably just cut this out, then put some fiberglass filler in that area there, and got a spot there also. But the rest of it came out pretty good. This is what it looked like once I knocked it down. I was just trying to get it somewhat smooth. It's easy to get the fiberglass mat, easy to lay it flat if you're going over a flat surface. But right here, I just cut all this fleece here out because I didn't want it to interfere with the glove box opening once I build it up with fiberglass. So I'm just going to do this by hand. I'm going to put some fiberglass filler in that, some long strand fiberglass filler bundle hair. I'm going to form that up. And also right here where it was wrinkled at, I just cut it out. I'm just going to put some fiberglass filler on that spot too. Alright, this is what I got going. I done sanded this fiberglass filler down. Them two areas there. Now I'm finna start fiberglass in the top. I'm gonna be using this fiberglass mat here, my bundle. I'll just be cutting some pieces to shape. And once I cut the pieces, I lay them down and cut you back on. Right now I'm just cutting my fiberglass mat. It's like a puzzle, I'm piecing it together. It's time consuming, but it'll be much easier when you start sanding. You want it to be flat as you can get it. That's what I'm trying to do now. I could just tear a lot of pieces and do it like that, but I'm trying to get it flat as I can. About got it pieced together. I think I got it. Let's see. This piece here going here. Let me cut it. Cut some of this off. I think I got everything except this piece here. Once I cut that, we'll start laying the resin. I'm just finna start brushing it on my fleece here. You want to put some at the bottom of the, I finna say fleece, but the bottom of the mat. Once you get it covered, then you can put the mat on top of it. It ain't gonna take much. Because the fleece already soaked with resin, so it ain't gonna take much resin. Then I just take my fiberglass mat, put it in place. Then I just dab it with the chip brush. I know if you got a fiberglass roller you could do it, so, but I ain't got no fiberglass roller because I don't do fiberglass much, so I ain't finna go buy no roller. Then if you just starting out, you ain't gonna have no roller. This for the ones that's just starting out fiberglassing. What you trying to do now is get all the air pockets out. If your area flat, you ain't gonna too much have no air pockets. Here's the fiberglass mat. This one layer. I'm gonna build it up more, but I'm gonna let this area here dry. Then I'm gonna flip it over and do the other side. I think I'll take it outside and let the sun hit it. It'll dry a lot faster. Now I'm just cutting out the pieces for the front side of the dash. It's completed, coated with fiberglass mat. The reason why you see the red marks, that's why I had traced this outer part out with the fiberglass mat so I can easily cut it. We'll take this in the sun, let it dry up, then we'll move on to the next step. Since everything dry, I'm going to take my DA with 80 grit on it, and I'm going to knock everything down, somewhat get it smooth. Knocked everything down with 80 grit. Now I'm going to take some regular body filler and I'm going to somewhat build this top section up. The sides and the front of it is fine. It's just I got to build this up where I did the woodwork. I kind of countersunk it a little bit too much. Some of it fine, like right here, but right here is a bigger lip. So I'm going to build this up some. Here's the filler. We'll let it dry, then I'll sand it down with the DA with some 80 grit. I done I'm pretty much shaped this top section up here with the DA. I done all this with the DA, no blocking or nothing. I also been going back, filling the low areas around here. Let me flip it over. Now you can see where I went back and took some body filler and started filling the low areas. But before I move any further, I'm gonna take this piece here out so I can shape up on the inside of it, because I can't really get to it because it's in the way. I'm gonna remove that, and I think that's about it right now. Yeah, I remove that, then I also start sanding this down, getting it flat. Now I can get up in here a lot better without that piece being in the way. This is what it's looking like. Now I take my box cutter and I trim all the fleece, like this area here. I'm gonna cut it out. Also around here, I'll cut out. I might leave that to later on, but I'll cut this out. That's so I can make this transition smooth from the fiberglass to the original vinyl. Now I take some fiberglass filler, probably use my fingertip, and make that transition a lot smoother. Here's the fiberglass filler. Let me show you this here. I also trim this out. I'm just doing the trimming right now. You can see right here. Also this part here. I pretty much got everything trimmed up now. Like I said before, I did this. I'm going to take some fiberglass filler and make this transition. Then I shape it up with some sandpaper, just go around it, smooth it out. Filler applied around the edges. Now I still got to cut this top part out here. Let me flip it over. Here you go. I cut this out. It's pretty much like on this part here. It's pretty much flush, but I still got to come down some more. I'm going to bring it down with the wood so you won't feel that line. But let me tear this out first, and then we'll take the DA sander and flush it on out. Now I take the DA with 80 grit and smooth it on out. Once I had knocked it down with the DA, I came back with some fiberglass filler to even that transition on out some. Now I take the DA again and knock this down smooth. Then I'm going to come back with some regular body filler and put over all my areas that I feel like is low. Like this area here. I probably put a skim coat on this whole section. Completely white with filler. Now I take some 80 grit on the DA and pretty much knock everything down somewhat smooth before I start blocking it by hand. Finish shaping it up for us with the 80 grit with the DA. On this here, I done it by hand around the curves. I didn't want to square it off, but I still got to do some filling. You can see right here, just around here. I'm just going to take some regular body filler and take my finger, just wipe it. Also up in here some low spots. I just got to dress up those areas before I move on. Also, you can see that's low. That's low. Low, low. It's a low spot. We'll let this dry here. Then we'll sand it down. I think we'll be ready to shoot our first round of primer after that. Done cleaned up the shop. Now I'm finna shoot my first round of primer. I'm also gonna be priming these on the back and the front. There go the dash here. I'm gonna put at least 2 coats of primer on it, just so I can block it. Following morning, I be it and dried. Now we can see all the imperfections, stuff we gotta fix before we move on. A lot of this stuff can be blocked out, but some of it, I'm gonna put some 1-part glazing put in. The bigger spots, like right here. This is the fleece, but once I start sanding, it'll sand right off. I guess I feel the small imperfections with some 1-part glazing putty. Then we're gonna spray some guide coat on it. Start blocking it. 1-part glazing putty. Now it's time for the guide coat. I'll be using flat black spray paint. What I'm gonna be blocking with is 180 grit. I got 2 blocks here. Only thing I'm gonna be doing is removing the guide coat, going in the X pattern. Now you can see the highs and lows where you see the guide coat is still low, this high. You see the filler. But I'm not too concerned about getting all the highs and lows out because I'm putting a texture on it, and plus it's going to be a flat, well not flat, satin finish on it, so it's not going to show all the imperfections. Finished up sanding everything for us the dash. Also sanding my inserts. I still got to sand the glove box in this piece here. I'll just be using the maroon Scotch spray to do that, sand that. I also went back and drilled my holes for screwing it down. And where these holes gonna be hit, let me show you. Now I gotta drill me some holes in my inserts, also in this part here, because I'm gonna put some neo magnets just to hold it in place. I think I might put one here, one there, and one somewhere here. See, I got the holes drilled. I'm not gonna actually put the magnets in until I paint it, but it's gonna go like that. I got these in, but I'm gonna take them out. Staged up, ready to shoot my final round of primer. I took my plastic pieces out, such as the glove box and the other pieces. I'm not gonna prime those. I'm just gonna shoot black. I'm gonna spray some adhesion promote on them and spray them black. Here's the primer. I brought my plastic pieces in also. About to mask this up and wipe it down with wax and grease remover. Then I'm gonna spray some adhesion promote on it. I'm gonna be spraying the seams just on the plastics. adhesion promoter applied. Now we got to put this texture on the dash so we can get that factory look. That's what we're going to be using this Rust-Oleum truck bed liner. I'm going to also put it on these parts too, just to bring it back to life. Bed liner applied. I don't know if you're seeing it through the camera. Probably can see it there. Let me mix up the satin black. That's what we're going with. A single stage satin black. I got everything painted. I just got to let everything dry up so I can come back out here and put the magnets in for the speaker mesh. Also, I tried to clean up the vents and the ashtray bracket. But other than that, everything good. I'll cut you back on once I get everything assembled.
We started with nothing, from nothing, we made something. Nobody really gave a damn about us.
how these magnets work here. See, I got a magnet there, there, also on the insert, just to hold it in place. Y'all stay tuned. I got plenty more fiberglass videos coming up. I got to do another dash, got a rear deck, and some door panels.
Nobody really gave a damn about us. We never stopped.